If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPR.
Welcome to Paranormal Heart Podcast with host Kat Ward.
Welcome to Paratruth.
The Church of Mavis Radio Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Hi, and thank you all for joining us today. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I had enough.
well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network. Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Wow, we got to do some editing, I can see. Oh wait, let's put the camera back on. Whoa, welcome everyone to UFO
I
Undercover.
edited the bottom scroll for you, so it now makes sense.
Oh, thank you. Oh well, that means it needs to be edited. You better get out there and get to editing it on YouTube and shit. You can edit it from here. It's what's that, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to UFO Undercover. No, I said it needs to be edited, not that, but I'm glad Jay fixed it. No, because it doesn't really represent. Jay's kind of full time host now. He's been hosting with me now a while now.
Yeah, a couple of years now.
Yeah, so one of these days, if you have this is we prefer women's voice on this to do our editing on our show or our promos and stuff like that. Really and truly, I do usually prefer men's voice to do women's shows and women's voice to do men's shows. It's just a thing. It's a thing of mine. I think it sounds better, especially if you have a nice gentleman's voice coming in, deep voice, and then you have a really good voice from a woman right behind it doing the show. And it sounds just as good the other way with a good solid woman's voice coming in. Well, when I say a woman's voice, I don't necessarily mean some hot, sexy voice. I mean a professional voice. It's different.
Or a
newscaster's voice.
Yeah.
Oh no, I could get somebody to do squirrely stuff all day long. It's just not what we're into. Nah, it show's old. We don't need that kind of stuff. What do you mean? Who's getting naked where? Aliens? I don't know. Somebody asked me that question. It's funny you said that because just the other day, this like 14-year-old kid or 13-year-old kid asked me, he goes, Mr. Joe, do aliens walk around naked? And I was like, hey, Leah.
Hey, Leah.
Oh, wait. That's my fault. So I was like, what do you mean? He said, no, I hear that those gray things don't wear any clothes. I was like, well, I know the humans wear clothes, and I know the reptilians wear clothes. This is the grays. Yeah,
Well,
I think
the
gray
reptilians
thing.
wear the least. Is from what I understand, some of them actually wear just like a baldric or a sash.
Depending on where you're at with the reptilians, just how they dress. So
yeah.
If they're walking around in the desert, they're not going to have much on. But if they're on board the ship, they're usually pretty dressed. I think they have to be dressed because there's a hierarchy and a command status, and that's how they do it.
There's a rank.
And I know, like in their big libraries and their religious halls, they're well dressed actually. So it's kind of strange. But if you go back and look at some of the Mesoamerican stuff or some of the Mesopotamian stuff, you'll see them well dressed.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. And the weird thing is that, and I don't know how they know this, but the Anunnaki, the winged reptilians, the Sumerians drew them with the wings out, even in full dress.
Yeah, it is kind of strange. And I was doing some research the other day on something different. And you've got what we would call where the Anunnaki who lived in Samaria right here. Here's Samaria, here's Mesopotamia, and then here's Egypt up here. So today, Mesopotamia is definitely. So it's actually would be 5 different countries. It would be modern day Iraq, modern day Iran, Syria. What's the one starts with a Y, and one other one I can't remember.
Yemen and Jordan.
Yeah, so those 5 countries. Oh no, Kuwait was in there because it was at the very bottom.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah,
but Kuwait's this big. Let's be honest. Yeah, I forgot about that one. That one was at the Persian Sea.
Washington D.C. with half the population. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's funny because when you look at Kuwait, it's right there at the bottom, and it's right there against the Persian Sea. It's like the whole country's back is against the sea. You know what they say about fighting against the sea. Anyway, welcome, Leah. How you been? Your kids looking good, man. Just a little demon-looking thing.
What?
He's a little demon. I can tell he's gonna be trouble, man. Just look at him. This kid.
I know. I'll be a grandma before I know it.
Yeah.
Great grandma. I'm thinking, man. Damn.
He's already in love with his next door neighbor.
Well, that's good.
They have class. They're in the same class, and they're next door neighbors.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Leah Dunbar. In case I haven't seen her before, someday. No, yeah, she is an alien. That's why we let her come on the show, because she's an alien. I know she's in disguise, but sometimes her disguise isn't all that good.
It may yet be revealed that all of us are alien to this planet, that we came here not of our own free will, and as a result of another planet exploding.
That's not of our own free will. because there's this theory that like we all made this conscious decision to
No,
incarnate in
look,
this
you know what?
life.
You know what? You want me to show you? I can't do that because I can't say that on this show. Y'all asked me this on Friday night. And I'll give you the correct answer that you should get for that question. No, I don't. I think there's a lot of different things going on here in a lot of different ways. So we know that now that there was some kind of planet between Jupiter and Mars. Was it Nibiru? I don't know, but whatever it was there. And that might be why they said every 3,600 years. It was probably every 36 months.
Still there.
Yeah, well, it's in remnants now. But what I'm saying is, so the big problem with some of the stuff was this 3,600-year orbit. You know, none of the orbits like that in our solar system work that way. So maybe 36 months, it might have been close. It came close to us or something, close enough to go back and
the time span of the planet's passing. Some say it's 3,200 years. Some say it's 36,000 years.
I would think I would go.
It's overdue, and B, just guessing and judging by the complete destruction of Planet 5 in this solar system,
along with Mars and Venus and Earth.
Yeah, along with what happened. I mean, and Earth too. I mean, Earth isn't like this.
I'm saying, so I'm thinking all four planets went cuckoo at the same time, probably because of the fifth planet.
I think I think something hit the fifth planet, and it exploded it, destroyed the atmosphere on Mars. Perhaps even with tidal forces, pushed the water table off of Mars. And
it's possible too.
This is Velikovsky's theory, mind you. He's of the mindset that whatever happened to the fifth planet is what erased the atmosphere from Mars and siphoned the ocean, the liquid ocean from Mars,
so
and deposited it here on Earth.
So now that we're on this, NASA fessed up and said there was definitely oceans on Venus. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
No question, there had to be.
So when they test the upper atmosphere, they believe that Venus was much more mild. You know, it was a much milder temperature. It was much more cloudy because of its location because it's closer to the sun than we are.
Yes, but it's still within what they call the Goldilocks zone, so it should not be.
Oh yeah, but it should have been hotter. But what they're saying is it actually wasn't because of the cloud table, and something to do with the amount of cloud coverage, because it was the way the water was situated on it. There was always a heavy cloud coverage, which gave you quite a bit of shade, which gave you a kind of a cooling effect.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
So anyway, they're saying it was optimal temperature for life, is what they were basically saying.
70 degrees.
So we're talking now, we know Mars was like that, and we know Earth is like that, and the fifth planet was probably like that as well. Even though it was 5 times the size of Earth, it just means there was giants living on the planet.
Just bigger and had more stuff. But that means that the planet has been, lush paradises.
That's what it's looking like. It looks like all 4 planets at one time were these beautiful Goldilocks planets that had life all over them, and then the only one that seemed to have survived whatever cataclysm it was us. And then it's in the way we survived. So if you really believe like the Greys, reptilians, and humans actually came from our own solar system, they lived on these other planets, and that's actually what happened, and that changes a lot of things. That changes that they're not deep space beings. That's why they have big colony ships in the solar system, because they're from the solar system. That changes a lot of stuff. And then that also makes you think, are the Greys, reptilians, and humans that big of space fan races? Other than the Council, well, we know the Greys are because of the light beings. But the rest of them, we don't actually know. That's just myth, rumor, and lore. There's nothing to back that up.
That's the thing, that almost everything that we know and or guess or think we know is just legend and lore from what we've gathered from whistleblowers, sketchy, in some cases sketchy testimony, but a lot of times sketchy testimony, if it's repeated often enough, that it becomes corroborative evidence, which is almost as hard to debunk as photographic.
But there's a lot going on. There's when you look at all 4 planets. Now, so if we go back and visit the 5th planet, which was probably Nibiru, because that's what they said Nibiru was 5 times the size of Earth, and this debris is 5 times the size of Earth. So we have to stop and think.
Debris?
Yeah, it's an asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars.
The 5th planet.
And there's there is like asteroids. There are asteroids that are
Yes,
5
big,
times the
huge.
size of
They have asteroids
Yeah.
there that are worth so much money that if you
Let
combined
me see if I
everything
can
on
get
Earth
a good picture
for
of the solar.
infinity, it wouldn't catch up with how much one asteroid is worth. It's there's massive
that-
amounts of gold and platinum, silver, uranium, you name it.
Hey,
Whatever you find on this planet, you find there in abundance.
in the movie Aliens with Sigourney Weaver, wasn't that what they were doing? Like going
Yeah,
and
they were
harvesting
mining.
all these precious
Yeah.
metals from
And you're not going to just
asteroids?
see them harvest and mine. As we start to get into the solar system, it's going to be more like the expanse. We're also going to be harvesting ice for water on all these colonies. So we don't have to bring it from Earth. We can get it from other sources because we know now there's lots of water in our solar system, lots of different locations. We also know there's water on the moon. So the way we're looking at the solar system and the universe is much different now. It's looking like a lot of the abundant things we need to have life are going to be there waiting for us. And we still don't. Which one is it? Titan, Io. Which one's got the water on it? The one we're going to send another probe to drill through?
I
don't know.
Is it no? There's a couple of them.
Can you hear me?
It's the
Yeah, we
same
got
as
you.
it's the same as one of the bad guys from
That's
Stargate
one of the
SG-1.
moons of Saturn, right?
Yeah, one of them. They know now almost positively they have oceans on them, and so it's not just that one, but this is the one they're going to concentrate their research on. They had originally sent something there. I don't know what happened to it. They said it kind of drilled and then poofed out or something. It's but anyway,
Talk
this
about
one's supposed to go
demons.
then. That you hear them. It's so they're supposed to go there, core drill, find the water, see what kind of water it is. Is it saline? Is it salt water? Do we have big creatures living there? I mean, because this whole moon is oceans, and this moon isn't all that little. It's not like it's half the size of Earth. It's a fairly big ass moon. People forget the moons of Jupiter. Some of them get close to the size of Earth. It's kind of
Earth isn't
scary.
that
Some are
big,
bigger.
right? Like
Some are actually
relatively,
bigger.
like it's like Earth's kind of small in
Well,
comparison.
yeah,
and this picture here that I have up, it's actually out of scale. The distances are way too close, but from between Earth and Mars, Mars and Jupiter rather, right here. This is the asteroid belt.
yeah.
This entire belt here, it's solid. It's like you see it here. It doesn't have gaps or breaks in it. It's just massive amounts of debris, rocks, and stuff that makes planets.
Yeah, see that one don't have a bunch of ice in it. It's mostly just
Yeah.
rocks and debris
Out
and stuff we
here,
can
this
use.
is the Kuiper belt. This is where the ice bodies and the comets come from. You can see there's a comet there and comets here.
So,
but look at this map real quick. I just want here's something that's going to blow your mind, Leah, and everyone who's listening. Over here you have Jupiter. Jupiter has on the order of 65 plus moons. This is Saturn. Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system, and it has over 230 moons. And some of those moons are 5, 6, 8, and 10 times the size of Earth. Now, between Saturn and Jupiter, Jupiter is almost large enough to become a star, and Saturn is almost as big enough to become a star. This could have been a trinary star system, but these two planets failed. Between those two planets, Saturn and Jupiter, there are over 300 other planets in this solar system.
Yeah, we don't know what's on any of them.
Nothing.
I mean, we got ideas of some of them, but some of them, and we keep finding stuff, and that's just we find rogue planets out in the system, which is possible for our sun to catch a rogue planet, but it'd have to get awful close for us. It'd have to be within 2 light years for us to catch a rogue. And then the orbit would be so long; it would probably be like 50,000 years or 75,000 years or something. It would be a very strange little thing that came through, but pretty much. I mean, and then you get the Oort cloud right there. I can't forget about that. Oort cloud.
It's not even on. It's not depicted on this.
Yeah.
Something else that might blow people's minds, even though Saturn will soon lose its rings.
Yeah, pretty soon this year, I heard.
Sometime this year. But while it has its rings, at the current time, Neptune, Jupiter, Uranus, and Saturn all have rings. We can't see Jupiter's rings because they're polar, not equatorial, and so they don't get hit with the light the way they should, as in Saturn's rings or Uranus. But Neptune and Jupiter both have invisible rings, which I think is cool. Like to go out there and see those.
Yeah. Well, see, they even included on this one. You can see it. It's on Uranus. You can see it. Yeah. I think
Uranus
probably-
has, you can't see them on the Jupiter model or the Neptune model, but
Yeah. But they're out there, and it is cool. And people, that all those planets we just talked about are the vacuum cleaner of our solar system. That's why we have the inhabitable zone, because of them. They took up all the stuff. They sucked up all the debris. They caused whatever problems they needed to be fixed. That's why the asteroid belt is there, nice and clean and running where it is, not throwing crap all out all the time. Because that could be hell for the Earth. I mean, that is not. I mean, we're talking Mars distance. It's not very far from us. So if anything passing through it or hitting it or making it wobble or wiggle could cause real grief for us. So because of Jupiter and Mars, it stays where it's supposed to stay.
yeah.
For the most part, and let's be honest, Mars's moons are probably from that debris field. You know what, Jay, I was thinking about it when you and I were talking about the crater, not the crater, the canyon. Was it Mariners Valley?
On Mars.
On Mars, it's a big, huge one.
Shaped like a lightning strike.
So I was looking at the two asteroids the other day, and I was thinking about this. And instead of, at one time there might have been one asteroid, and that might have been what scraped across the top of the planet. Because if it came in like this, just long ways, and the whole thing was scraping whatever ridges, mountains, and gashes it had, it would have been copied on the planet, and there would have been enough force to probably break it out into two moons, and also put a.
Is that what killed the dinosaurs?
No, this is on Mars.
On Mars.
Velikovsky's idea of how the canyon was created is almost what you said, but instead of the planets skimming against each other, they just come close and they don't hit, but they come so close that static electricity is discharged between the two planets.
And well, that's what I'm thinking. Because if you had
scar across the face.
If you had the two moons of that were one moon at the time coming across, it could have done it pretty easily.
Yeah.
And because it would have been a moon like that, it would have took its time crossing. It'd be interesting to time lapse and see what the speed of the moons are, seeing if they sped up over the years, and see how long it would cross, with resistance against that part of it. It'd be interesting. I mean, what's that, Jackie? No, nobody knows actually what happened. No, we're just speculating. It's what do you mean, the Grand Canyon? No, the Grand Canyon could fit inside. For being such a smaller planet than us, it's got the largest crater in the solar system and the largest volcano.
No,
something happened on Mars.
The belongs to Io, which is a moon of Jupiter.
So,
but Olympus Mons is one of the largest mountains within our solar system.
Yeah, it's the largest volcano in the solar system. And what's interesting about it, when it was blowing up, a lot of what it was spewing out was coming here. Because it was leaving. It wasn't enough to keep the atmosphere, wasn't enough to keep the stuff inside the planet.
Why is Saturn losing its rings?
The breeze, they're ice rings, a lot of them. They're just melting away.
They were possibly
dust.
reformed however they were made.
Global warming.
Yeah, there you go. See, it's funny you said that, because NASA about 15 years ago said that the general area of the space around us where all of these red dwarfs came in from the Sagittarius galaxy was warming. And it's kind of interesting that everything around us would be warming, but we wouldn't be. Maybe they just don't want to tell us that we're fixing to get barbecued.
Yeah. It's a possibility.
It may be time to move to Pluto.
I hear you just float off of Pluto.
No, Pluto's got gravity.
A little bit.
The fact of the matter is what we've talked about, and it's with the planets are still up there. Something tore through the inner planets. The inner planets start after Jupiter. So the asteroid belt, Mars, Earth, Venus, Mercury. Something blew through there and destroyed the fifth planet, took the atmosphere and the water away from Mars, knocked planet Earth on its ass and turned it sideways almost, and then hyper extended the atmosphere of Mercury I'm sorry, of Venus, and made it an what do you call it? A greenhouse planet.
Yeah. And you know what's funny about this? This didn't all necessarily have to happen at one time. I thought about this a lot. So whatever caused. Well, was it Marcus? No, a lot of people think that was a war that blew up the fifth planet. Personally, I don't think that's how it died, but well, because there's no, so far we haven't found anything that would indicate like large nuclear weapons or something like that, or some kind of plasma. We haven't seen any.
Well, yeah, we
well,
haven't
it
really
would be
investigated
seen.
the asteroid
Well,
belt.
no, we can see the asteroid belt pretty good. I mean, that's how we know that Titan. That's how we know all those different minerals are out there, and those also like.
Well, we do not know that those minerals aren't radioactive.
Well, yeah, we do. Yeah, we know the radiation count between here and there and what's on there. And actually, we're pretty good at counting radiation in space these days. It's amazing to me because every time I hear about the Kepler belt, oh, we're dying because we're going to get radiated. So I was watching NASA put its radiation count up. Was watching it go up and down. Frankly, you don't even need, as long as you're in the ship, you don't even need a suit. It's not enough to kill you. It's I mean, if you hang out there for like weeks on end, it might, but I mean, guys, you pass through it in all of about an hour. It's like, boom, and you're through it. So it's not what everybody thought it was. And we had all those astronauts come back from space that survived. It's, I guess, all those Apollo missions, and none of them died of cancer. Think of that. Isn't that interesting?
As yet, as far as we know, but
I mean, they're all 80 years old now. I mean, come on, if you die of cancer now, what the fuck?
We truly know the real long-term effects of being out in outer space. We really don't, because we haven't done years.
The longest. What was the longest? It's been 3 years. It's the longest anybody's been in space, and
we haven't done decade studies.
Just from 1 year, they tell you how bad.
5-year mission with a crew of 400, jetting through space, fighting Klingons and whatnot.
Where's all the space station folks at?
What do you mean on space station?
Wasn't Trump going to bring them back?
Yeah, they're coming back this week. Actually,
they're on the way back. Wednesday I think is when.
They said it could be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday is what they said on the thing.
Were they
Don't
in
ask me
danger
why.
up there? Were they like running out of like rations?
No, there was other people up there with them. They weren't by themselves.
No, I wasn't asking if they were by themselves. I was wondering.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they would have been in danger, they would have took more people down on the last.
Or there would have been an emergency,
or they'd have just sent them food. Yeah, these days the way Starlink, I mean the way he's got his Elon's got his stuff set up, it just boom, load it up and send it. Those little rocket Falcon 9s, them things can be loaded up and sent all day long. He's got bunches of them. That's not, and they can dock right with the thing. Everything can be done automated too. They don't even have to have anybody drive.
Robots, really, basically.
It's so it's kind of cool that they've achieved that. So no, they weren't any of that. They just Joe Biden's the reason they didn't get to come home last year. He
canceled the NASA rescue missions.
Yeah, so NASA was going to use X to go up there and get them. And then, I shouldn't say X. Wrong company. What SpaceX? I guess it's.
He was going to Twitter them back.
No, NASA was going to pay Elon Musk's company to fly the mission to retrieve the astronauts, and Trump kiboshed it.
No,
not Trump. Biden kiboshed it.
Biden said no. Yeah, and even the astronauts knew about it. They talked about it up there. They could have been home 4 months ago, but no. But anyway, they'll be home on this mission. Finally, they'll get to go home. No thanks to Jeff Bezos, by the way. Jeff, where the hell you been, dude? They've been up there for 9 months. You couldn't go get them? I mean, what kind of space shit are you running over there? Oh, it makes you look bad.
Boeing's the company that abandoned them up there in the first place.
Yeah, but that was from Blue Origin spaceships.
Well, it was a NASA-backed mission. I do understand.
Yeah, but I mean, Jeff Bezos was the one who owned all of that. He's the one who takes the hit for this.
You would think he should pay.
Oh, he's going to pay up. He's
goes up there for them. A and B.
Don't even worry. But he called Elon on the phone. He said, "Elon, man, look, can't you get these people?" Elon said, "Yeah, I'll get them home. Don't worry about it." And he's like, "How much, Elon?" He said, "$3 billion." Meso no problem. I'll have it transferred over to you in the morning.
I'll have it wired to you by the end of close
Yeah.
of business today.
Don't even worry about it, man. I was done. No, none of us humans had to know. Jackie, getting back to the actual subject we were talking about tonight. No, these are cool subjects because people always talk about it in the Hebrew and it's way late if it existed, so we can't find it anymore. It doesn't seem to come around anymore.
If it still came around, it should have been by again already.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were talking about the fifth planet. It probably came by. It probably got close enough to Earth every 3,600 years to get people here. Remember, it couldn't get that close to us without destroying us. A planet 5 times the size of us, gravity is going to wreak just massive havoc on our planet. Plus, it would have probably stole our moon. It would have just snatched it.
If our moon was a natural moon, and I don't think.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
It's not. It rings like a damn bell.
Yeah, so regardless, I mean, there would have been a disaster for us. There was no disaster for us, which means it never got that close to us. Well, think of Jupiter being where Mars is, and think what would happen to Earth.
If Jupiter and Mars and Saturn as well, if those two large gas planets weren't there, enough debris would fly in from the Oort cloud this would basically be like a shooting gallery where the inner planets are, and
But I'm just talking about because take Jupiter and physically flip it to where Mars is, and what's going to happen to Earth.
No, it would destroy it. But the direction I was going is just you take.
Either Saturn, way, it's destroyed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Either way, it's destroyed.
It's basically a shotgun. It's been shooting stuff towards the sun since time began. And if we didn't have those large planets like Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Jupiter in that order to absorb that material, we would not have an atmosphere, and our planet would look like the moon.
Yeah, you don't remember the Shoemaker-Levy 9 comet, the one that just wreaked havoc.
7 pieces of a comet hit planet Jupiter.
One of them made a cloud. One of them hit Jupiter and was 3 times the size of Earth. Just think what it would have done to us.
None of the explosions pieces that hit Jupiter were smaller than the planet Earth. So had they hit Earth one shot, we would have been gone anyway. But they happened on the Terminator between night and day. So they happened in nighttime, and then you could see them just like about 20 minutes after they hit as it rolled into day. It was the most amazing footage I'd ever seen, but it would have destroyed all of the inner planets.
Yeah. No, Ronnie. A couple of them were bigger than the red spot on Jupiter.
Yes.
Yeah, they were massive explosions. Nothing we could have survived. So thank you, Jupiter, for saving our happy ass on that particular time around.
Do you think that at one time any of the planets were all one big planet, and like something like some cataclysmic catastrophe happened that?
The physics involved and the nature of the material within our solar system, at least, that we're able to determine is the stuff that's way out is the lighter material, micas and dusts and what have you. And then as you get closer to the outer planets and inner planets, you get denser and denser and denser material, and we're the third planet out. So we're like, comprised of some of the hardest material in our solar system. Venus, if we could, harvest its material, the iron and steel we could get off of planet Venus would be stronger and harder than our materials. So if we made cars out of stuff from Venus, a car made from steel from Venus hitting a car made from steel from Earth, the Earth car would be destroyed instantly. That's how much greater the material would be.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on out there that people don't like to talk about, but you got that asteroid belt is full of a lot of stuff, and pretty soon Mars is going to become the mining colony.
Yeah,
we're going to start, and that's what Elon's planning on doing. He's going to go put 1 million people over there. Next thing you know, there'll be all these little spots.
Well, to have a stable atmosphere, you need to have a stabilizing moon. What better way to do that than to draw in, say, a giant asteroid that's filled with gold, antimony, and platinum, and you turn it into the planet's temporary moon, and then you harvest the shit out of it. Pardon my French.
Well, they're going to be harvesting more than one because I figure what he's going to do, he's just going to go into the asteroid belt and lay claims to different sections of it. and that way nobody else can just come in there and just take it. The man will be, his family will be worth trillions. In 50
Well,
years, they'll have
unless-
numbers we've never even heard before. That's how rich
Unless
they'll
an
be.
external force or another external entity, say another government, an alien government, intervenes, perhaps, and starts a war with him.
I don't know.
I don't know
Elon might, he might win. He got to watch
He
him.
might get his ass kicked and invite the rest of them to come and visit our planet and kill the rest of us. So
No, they would already know it. They wouldn't do declare it on one
we
person.
have phasers and torpedoes and stuff.
Any aliens would go, well, that's the Mars. Let's wipe out Mars. That's the Marsies, man.
Elon's been looking pretty like down in the dumps recently.
Has he? Every time I see him, he's all happy and got the chainsaw out and going to cut some more.
I don't know. He's not a natural born American citizen. He's a naturalized citizen. But if I was in his position as Doge and finding the corruption that I was, I wouldn't be happy. I'd be literally pissed every day of the week.
Well, there's a lot of money they keep finding, and they keep closing agents. Well, I can't wait to see how the country's going to run on. So when he's all done, when Trump's all done here in about another 2 months, we're going to be running on 1/3 the size of the government.
You think it's
that
only
we
going to
used
last
to.
2 months?
Well, no, that's not what I'm talking about. These agencies, he said he'll be done with this in about 2 months. All the job cutting he's doing. So, but basically, we're going to run on 1/3 of the agents people we had before to run our country. It's going to be interesting. Got to say, it's going to be interesting. See how it goes.
I keep saying it. This is going to be a very, very interesting 4 years. Very interesting.
Well, who's going to do the student loans? I mean, he's firing everybody over at the education department. So who's going to do the student loans?
Look, if he's finding enough money, I mean, in the gobs of money he's finding, if this is for real, if they're not making this shit up, pardon my French again, quite literally, he could wipe out the debt in this country, my debt, your debt, Leah's debt, the country's debt. He could possibly bring the economy to the point where no state has to, charge sales tax for a decade or so.
Yeah, we're gonna see what he's gonna do. It's gonna be interesting.
I mean,
maybe
$1 so far, trillions of dollars.
Well, they think they're gonna find about $1 trillion. What they think? No, Marsh. Trump's not a Men in Black. I'm sorry, he's not. The Men in Black are like, what's the best way to describe them? They're like a group of people.
There are actually two kinds, are there not?
Well, see, the Men in Black are weird because you've got like, this gets really squirrely really fast. So you've got a group of people who, where'd that come from? You got a group of people who are ex-CIA, ex-NSA, ex-FBI, ex-Boeing, ex-Lockheed, ex-politicians, ex-colonels, ex-generals. And none of them actually still work for the government at all anymore. They work together. And they formed a group, and that's what they did. In the Men in Black, technically, and I'm using this loosely, technically work for that group, but they don't always agree with them. So they don't always do what they're told for some reason. And then they're supposed to be. They used to think it was a hybrid group, but it sounds more like it's a rogue gray group.
Yes.
It sounds like it's more like rogue grays. I mean, everybody was trying to put it off as hybrids, but I can't see any aliens letting their hybrids run around on a planet. It's too dangerous.
She's got two entities. She's cloned herself. There she goes. Okay, she's all right now.
She's been probed by extraterrestrials.
I ended up like getting. I wasn't there for a minute.
And then at some point you cloned into two different screens, so I put them both up. But there's a Hollywood rumor. 1960. This would be 1969. Wait, hold on. Be 1967. So the year my brother was born, and it's the year that Gene Roddenberry is getting ready to write for the second season of Star Trek. and it's like June, July, middle of the summer. He's in his offices on Desilu Studios in the back lot of Paramount in California, and he's stuck and he can't figure out how to progress Star Trek forward. And he's allegedly is greeted by 2 or 3 Men in Black types, not the CIA kind, but strange human-like.
Strangers in the night.
Pretty much, the thing that they described in the meeting was that they spoke English, but it was broken English at points, and they had like a strange accent. But they told him flat out. They said, "Look, Gene, we like your show. It's pretty good. You're pretty close, but here's the ticket." And they told him that they were representatives of a galactic federation that represented some 80 different races spanning over 120 different solar systems just in this local area of our galaxy, is what they said. Well, if anyone is a Trekkie or even wants to go and watch Star Trek from beginning to end, you can fact check me on this one and do your best. You can't get this one wrong. In the first season of Star Trek, the Enterprise belongs to a group called the United Earth Space Probe Agency, and their symbol is almost identical to NASA. So it's a very vaguely formed, like global NASA organization. Runs the Enterprise. Second season, it is now under the control of the United Federation of Planets, which is a governing body containing some 60 or 80 planets and 120 or 110 different species. Well, where did that come from? Allegedly, Ray got that from alien species in his offices at Star Trek. So, very, very cool story. I would love to verify that, but I don't think Rod enjoys that subject so much.
Well, and they messed it up with Enterprise anyway. So
yeah, I mean, but the initial idea was it was, I think, certainly 100% part of the Hollywood, getting us used to it plan. I forget what the technical name, but the gradual, getting us used to aliens, and as you noticed from the 50s forward, it's been more and more alien.
Rainy, Men in Black has been seen everywhere, and I don't know, I hate even calling them Men in Black. I mean, the 4 or 5 times we've run up with spooks, they were men in gray, usually in Armani suits, by the way, or something close. I mean, these were not cheap suits they were wearing. Even the shoes, you could tell, anyway, you could tell they weren't cheap shoes. Nothing on them were cheap.
Right?
What was that?
The gray Men in Black types, like the ones who met with Gene Roddenberry, allegedly wear like kind of shabby clothes. They're not wearing designer,
No, these guys. Maybe as time went on, they got upgraded, but they're wearing designer suits.
The government agents are wearing.
So when you look at them, you don't. It's like shabby. You would remember because it would catch your attention. But somebody in a sharp suit like that, you would just, man, that was a really good suit, and that would be it. It would go right out of your head. It wouldn't even be.
I would remember, especially a tailor cut suit. I would remember that specifically because I like a good suit, especially if it's a vested suit. If it's a 3-piece suit, then I'm like, I'm all over it, man.
But the thing of it is, most people are just not going to pay any attention to it. Once they see it, they're just going to say that was really pretty, and then they're just going to move on. And we've seen it many times, not just on that, but on other things besides that. Sometimes humans are funny. Something like, let's say, so if you're driving down the street and there's a bunch of well-dressed people in the street, you're not going to remember them. But if you see one bum sitting on the corner doing something, whatever he's doing, sign up, drinking, you're going to remember him. Mm-hmm. It's just going to stick in your head. There's lots of reasons for that, ladies and gentlemen, which we ain't going to get into all of them tonight because some of them are pure psychological, but you will remember that. But if there was a guy standing there right next to him, walking along in a really nice suit, you'd see him and you'd register him, but we'd go back to the bum. And there's reasons why for that too, because the first time I was told about the Men in Black, I got to thinking about the Men in Black on the TV show when they were driving the POS Ford. What was that, the 200 model? Anyway, I had a friend of mine had one of those when I was growing up, and they were badass. They came with a full 104 barrel under the hood. They was actually quite a vicious little car, and
Right.
you could get them with a police interceptor in them. So it was kind of interesting that's the car they chose. But there was lots of stuff, and then there was this thing. I should say there still is this thing with some of them. I believe these are the road grays. When they approach you and they start talking to you, you start to feel almost like time slipping. And when they leave, it's like as they're walking away, they're pulling the memory of whatever just happened away with them. It's the best I can describe it. I've heard it described many times, but that's the best I can describe it. It just sounds like the people, as they're watching them, they're forgetting.
Yeah.
Which so I don't think so much that's the human ones. I think that's not the reptilians, the gray ones.
Are they being placed in a trance?
So the grays, I don't know if it's necessarily a trance.
More telepathy, obviously, to not only communicate their ideas to you, but as they leave your vicinity, you forget the entire conversation exists.
I think a lot of times with the grays, it's as they're walking, because people forget they're telepathic, so they're like, well, I don't hear them talking, because they're not talking. Yeah. As they're walking up to you, they're filling your brain up with stuff. And at the same time, they're probably releasing some endorphins that help you to relax some and just push back. And then as they get close to you and other things going, they probably release more endorphins, which makes the body just kind of almost, all happy. And then as you leave, all of that's being pulled out. As they leave, all that's being pulled out. Whatever you talked about, unless they want you something they want you to remember, it's being pulled out as well. So in the end, when they get in their car and leave,
they can leave it as an inspiration. You may not necessarily remember it on the surface. So maybe that's
well, no, they're going to leave. Whatever the initial message was, they're going to leave.
He wrote, 25 episodes of Star Trek, and that all revolved around the United Federation of Planets. All of a sudden,
well, whatever the initial message is, whatever the message is, I should say, they're going to leave that. They're just taking everything else with them. How you got the message, what's going on with the message, how did it perforate through everything? They take all that with them, mainly because I don't think humans just are ready.
Would either one be a Milabs type of situation? Is the Men in Black, whether they're the CIA types or the
they both would be considered Milabs, yeah. Well, only because we don't have an alien lab, I guess, and that would just fall into an abduction. And they're not abductions. And what bothers me about this the most is because we have to get into what they talk about these other ones. So you got the human military abduction people going, and they're all around the world. And we know for some reason they like to use people from different countries in different countries. So when you hear about them in China or in other places, even in Russia, you hear them say "gentils," which are French policemen. That's how they're describing them, and they're speaking French. But here you hear them. Sometimes you'll hear them speaking English, but it's not always English like we think of English. Sometimes it'll have an accent to it.
There's either sometimes broken English or it has an odd accent to it.
And then in South American places like Australia and other places, you'll hear them talking about American English, it stands out on its own. So it's almost like, and I don't know why they do it like that. I mean, I'm sure there's a damn good reason for why, but still, that's the way they're doing it. And they're using everyday humans, probably gifted humans, maybe even telepathic humans, but they're using humans. And then for some reason, the gray rogues, because this isn't the grays. This isn't the grays that take you and abduct you and probe you and do whatever with you and send you back. This is a rogue group of grays. And for some reason, the grays can't stop these SOBs. And I've heard horror stories about them trying to stop them. I've even heard horror stories about the other Men in Black trying to stop them. It must be a decent sized little group.
There was one video, and I don't know what this one on one of those Reels type TV shows. But a couple years ago, and I remember seeing they said this is a possible video of some Men in Black, and it's a very odd video. Two guys wearing like black hats, black suits, black ties, white shirts, white socks, black shoes. But you can never see their faces. It's a strange video. it's like either they know exactly where all the cameras are, and their hats are just precisely in a place where all
and that's another thing.
Lower chin.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people say whether it's the humans or the Greys, they always tend to know where any electronics is. And they even know if someone's telepathic around them. So I'm thinking if it's humans, it's got to be a high telepath. It really has to be somebody with telepathic abilities or with equipment we just have never seen, which is quite possible too.
Yeah.
I'm sure NSA and all those places. But anyway, we got to take a break right quick, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back to get deeper into the military abduction thing. What was it, Carl? You found the beginning of the show interesting? Well, thank you. Well, yeah, we didn't start on track, but we were talking about something else. Well, actually, we'll probably do a show on what we were talking about in the future, because the reason that whole thing got started was we were talking about Mesopotamia and Egypt and Samaria. That's what we were talking about, these three races. And then we got to talking about places where other races could have came from, which is an interesting thing. There's a lot of similarities. And recently they've been finding stuff that really is mind-boggling. And just like Mesopotamia, the one image they had with the reptile.
Modern day archaeology, modern day history, modern day just about every humanities class you can take in college and high school is going to have to be rewritten.
It seems like it. Well, so there's the Mesopotamian reptile with the wings. It's now been found on like 5 continents or 4 continents, and in something like 20 or 22 different indigenous species, including South America and North America. So I mean, what the hell? And how did it get here? Because it wasn't supposed to be here. But anyway, we got to go to break. I'm sorry, we got to get to break. We'll be right back, and we'll be back in probably about 7 or 8 minutes. So go grab a Coke, hit a cigarette, and then we'll see you in 8 minutes.
Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Hi, I'm Brittany Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey, because you are worth it.
Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana Fiestra, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered.
When they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to UFO Undercover. That song was actually written for this particular show a long time ago. If you listen to it, you'll know what it's talking about. It's oh no, it reminds me of a song written not too long after it. Oh, it's going to go right out of my head just because I decided to talk about it. Yeah, well, I'll come back. It's the one where the girl's choking him with the hose. That's actually a spoof on the video. I mean, it's somebody decided it's a good song, so somebody decided to make
Phil Schechter or Spector. What's his name? Schneider.
Yeah, so
Phil
they did.
Schneider.
Yeah, so it was good. It was I don't know why I can't remember the name of the song now. It's it's about aliens abducting people. That's what the song's about. Yes, but it actually got on the bestseller list too. I know. Wow, wait, Denise and Ginger and Jericho and whatever weird name that is down there. It's Zuzing Shah. Is that how you say that? Close. Thanks for being nice. Sure. I'm sure. Well, you can always come in the chat room and put it up there, and other people can see it too, and they can take a look at it. You mean Asian? I know there's so much. Maybe there's so much, but still. Anyway, welcome back to the show, everyone. I hope everybody enjoyed the first hour on a couple of different topics. We were there to answer the bunch of questions I see I've been posting back and forth on my messenger. So the Greys, the Gray Rogues are like, first off, they use all of their abilities. They're not like the other Greys, which hold back a lot of times. They don't push humans a certain way. If you get in these guys' way, you're going to know you got in their way. Now, they're not always there to do bad. Sometimes they're there to do good, which confuses me. So sometimes they go out of their way to do good, just to put this in perspective. And maybe the other Greys use them for this. So we have a bunch of these cases, but we'll start with the first one I ever got, which was 35 years ago. Yeah, this tells you how long I've been tracking these guys. So we get a call that the government had grabbed someone. This is before we were even talking about Milabs. Grabbed someone that was gifted, that we knew was a gifted contactee. So they grabbed him, took him in, and just took him away. So the few contacts that we knew back then, which was this many, we all got together and we talked and said, okay, we need to maybe see if the Greys can do something better. Well, we didn't have to. And it wasn't the Greys from the ship. You could tell from the descriptions, it was these men in gray Greys who went and got them. And from what I understand, there was no. If you've ever seen the TV series Taken, that's what happened. There was nobody left. Nobody. There was no bodies, by the way, either. It reminded me of a Star Trek episode. It was piles of dust, like they had been disintegrated. Now, there's lots of stories like these out there, and there's other stories that we've gotten since, but they just don't seem to give a blank about. Look, if you're interfering with their project, whatever it is, because it's I get people tell me all the time, it's this, it's that. It says no, they're rogue, baby. They're not running with the Greys. Something the Greys did pissed these guys off enough that they felt the need to break off from their society, which I'm amazed the Greys ain't just killed them, and go rogue on our planet, no less. Yeah, that's big connotations for a lot of different things. What were you saying, Jay?
Well, I was going to say there seems to be in the research that I've come up with that there are when we talk about the Greys, we almost 100% of the time mean the Zeta Reticulans species, but there are actually 5 types that and it even says so in the book of Aliens, things that the Blue Planet Project book, that one would identify these 5 different species, the Zeta Reticulans plus these 4 others. They would all identify them as the same species. They're not. They're very similar, but somehow the U.S. government knows them to be 4 different distinct.
Okay, well, before you go on, there can only be 3.
They're almost identical as like the Gray types, but the worst of the 5 are the Zeta Reticulans, as far as the U.S. Navy is concerned.
See, that's the thing, because they say the same thing about the reptilians, but we know they're one species. They're one species. They're not different species. And I would bet you it's the same thing with the Greys, because don't forget, when the light beings came here, they said that the Greys were colonizing, but they had to be changed. All of them. So they meant, and I'm assuming, and this is a big assumption, that when they meant change, they meant uplifted telepathically, telekinesis, every little thing you could think of was not just raised up, but it was surpassed any other races.
What if they were sent into bodies or vessels like human bodies as punishment? Instead of going up, they went down.
Well, the problem for human, anytime we talk about anything going into human bodies, I can't see, and no, Clara, no, well, let me finish and I'll say, so I can't see certain things. Okay, like it would be like a Vorlon, a full-fledged Vorlon, taking his full body and putting it into you. Nope, they're dust. They're dust. They're just dust. They can't survive it. It's just they're just dust. So for us, there's something different going on. When they talk about the grays, they're because when you go to the council, there's only one gray sitting there. There's not 5 different ones. There's only one. So it's got to be the same species, or there would be 5 different grays sitting there, and there's not, unless. And we can't rule this out because the fucking place is, excuse my language, the place is really big that they're not being seated somewhere else because they don't have any power. So that's always a possibility, but I doubt that, because if they were this close getting involved this much, and they would have some kind of power. So what it looks like, I think it's the same thing that happened with the reptilians. I think when the grays diverse, when the light beings can, okay, look, we're going to put you to work. This is what we're going to do. And I think they diversified the gray race. They upgraded them, and then they put them in the places they needed them, because when they talk about the Gray's homeworld, they're talking about like completely on the other side of our galaxy. I mean, they're talking completely on the other side.
70-some thousand light years away.
Yeah, it's way the hell away. It's not like one of these other planets close by.
In Star Trek terms, it's from where the Enterprise was and where Voyager was. That's how the difference.
Yeah, it's just an insane amount of space. So they talk about that, and then so we know it's probably what they did was say, okay, we need a colony here, we need a colony here, a colony here. Well, the same thing the reptilians did, but when the reptilians did it, because of each planet, they diverged. They grew wings, they grew gills. They grew quite a lot of things from what we understand. I'm thinking the Greys kind of did the same thing, but on a necessity basis, more so than an evolution basis. I think it was part of whatever this agenda is. Because let's be honest, people, we can talk about all we want to talk about how great the light beings are. In the end, the agenda we're doing right now is from the light beings. They're the ones that brought the council together.
We are aware of can go in and out of any atmosphere. That includes lava, water, earth, and the vacuum.
And I know they don't even want to come to this planet because there's no one here that can truly hold their vessel. Maybe a piece of them, but not them. So, but whatever this is, they came from a different galaxy. They helped unite ours, which was in war, and now here they are with their top 3, which are the reptilians, humans, and Greys. That's the ones that sit on their sides in the council meetings on our planet. Now, yes, we do believe, Jay and I have talked to this many times, that the human type aliens came here first. And maybe the reptilians were here a long time ago because of the map of the creator, but we don't know that for sure. We just know something was here. But anyway, the thing that brought us into being was the human aliens coming to this planet, not being able to breathe here, starting their own colony and evolving, and then creating the subspecies of us. And then for some reason, the reptilians were either here or came here on purpose and decided to dilute, I shouldn't say dilute, to enhance the human type aliens.
The 7 iterations of man.
With us being the last one, which means we have whatever DNA they started with, which we don't know what the hell it is, the Anunnaki's DNA and the reptilians' DNA, and now probably the Grey's DNA.
DNA structure, we don't know what it is or what it does or how it works. Isn't that not correct?
Yeah, this does a lot of stuff we don't understand. Yeah. They used to call it junk DNA, and then they found out some of it actually did shit, so they had to quit calling it junk.
If it's junk, then what's the fucking what good is? I mean, 79%. That's the number, something like that. It's like almost the entire thing. They don't know what it does.
So I mean, they're learning. Don't get me wrong, they're learning a lot, and some of the stuff they're learning is just fantastic. They're learning how they're going to be able to inject stuff directly into cell now. So, like if you're going to have cancer, they'll be able to send this thing in, and it'll just direct it into the cell. No chemo, no nothing. It kills the cell. It cleans it up. It even helps to it has like nanites. It even helps to rebuild the skin. So I mean,
some of the medicine in the future is going to be, it's going to be made with your DNA. So it,
yes. Well, they're already doing that.
A, you won't reject it, and B, it's like almost instantaneous.
They're already doing that, and several cancer things right now. They're using their own
they're
DNA.
already doing it with some cancer treatments.
So we see all of this, but then we have to go back and think, okay, what is this agenda that we're mixed up in? Okay, we're pushing our own agendas as humans, our 200 countries acting like 200 asses, and still, I mean, this is 20. When I was young, back in the 80s, I'm not going to say the 70s, say the 80s, I was thinking, hey, look, we're heading a good path, a little bullshit going on, but we should be really doing well when we get to 2000, 2012. I was like, man, we'll be really people. Yeah, we got a little bit better technology, but really not if I was alive, you'd be surprised how close we are to the same crap. Electric cars ran back then. Actually, they had the little red ones that didn't even have to be recharged, but every 2 days. I'm kind of wondering what happened to that.
Electric cars in the 1890s.
Yeah, no, and then so, and there was a lot of other things that just frankly, I'm surprised. What do you mean? No, the microwave was like in the 50s or something, man. I can't remember. I'd have to go look.
The first microwave came directly outside of the war. It was a direct result of the British radar research, and it was called the Amana Radar Range, and it came out on sale. I think the first one was 1951.
Yeah, so the thing of it is okay, we got Teslas, which look good, and we got charging stations, which is cool. But really, that's not anything big leap. AI, well, we're going to see what AI is because nobody really knows what the hell it is, and I trust AI this much. Have y'all never watched sci-fi movies, people? Really? If you never watched a sci-fi movie and see what AI does, come on. Did you ever watch The Matrix? Anyway, moving on and back to the military abduction stuff because apparently you people are crazy. It's the reason why we're establishing the different races and stuff is because the rogue grays are just weird. It's like an anomaly, an enigma wrapped up in a riddle. It's a very strange, and it's more strange. Hey, Leah, it's more strange in the way they do things. Sometimes it's like good stuff, and sometimes you're like, holy crap. It's hard to, and at least with the Men in Black, you kind of know they're coming because you did something you shouldn't have, or they're coming to tell you to do something you should do. Other than that, they don't really come around. But these guys seem to have all kind of different reasons to come around, and they don't abduct you, by the way. The rogue grays, they don't take you. They'll come see you and talk to you or do whatever they're going to do wherever you are, which is crazy to start off with. Maybe we should write a book about the rogues.
Do they manifest in your dreams as different types of, like, different species or different beings altogether?
Rogues can manifest in anything they want to. That's why I tell people be real careful when you're thinking about your, like your wolf or your dragon or your spirit animal may actually be a gray. And we stumbled. That was sheer, by the way. This tells you how research really works. So we're doing hypnosis for other stuff. And I forgot who it was. She said, oh, and I need to talk to you about my spirit owl. Spirit owl is what she had. I said, okay. She said, well, so when I'm under, can you ask me a question about it? I said, sure. So, we're going through her abduction right towards the end because, owls are one of the things you see sometimes when you're abducted. And I said, tell me about your spirit owl. And she starts talking. Then she starts screaming her head off. I'm like, what's the matter? It's a gray. It's a gray. It's a gray. It's a gray. And I mean, she was hot. So she come right out of the hypnosis like that. And she was down pretty deep. And she came out and she's like, damn blanket. I can't even use the language even close to what she was using. I mean, every curse word you could think of came out this woman's mouth because she was mad because she had been tricked. That's why a lot of times I don't, even though I know some people for sure, their spirit animal is probably a gray or something. I don't push it because, if you're comfortable with it and it's helping you, why mess with it?
Was she scared of it?
When she knew it was a gray, she was, yeah. And I got all kind of advice from this thing. She was telling me, and it turned her life around quite a bit because I knew her quite well. It just was turning around, was giving her nothing but good advice, pointing her to things when things were getting ready to happen and stuff. And it was really helping her. And then, she seen it as a gray, and that was it. The connection broke. I kind of felt guilty about that, but she's the one that asked. I wasn't going to ask. And then after that, I asked for volunteers to see how many of the ones, I own Paranormal Radio Network. There's quite a few paranormal people I know, plus there's quite a few on the network. So I asked some of them to volunteer to, more than half turned out to be grays. That was just a disappointing thing all the way around. It's one of them times when you're like, wow, this is a really significant discovery, but at the same time, you're kind of like, well, this again sucks.
Yeah.
Really, it's what it is. But and then on the other hand, they are trying to help. I mean, it's not like they're lying or doing things. They're trying to manifest in a way that humans can understand it.
I just don't associate grays with something to be like terrified of because of my own experience. Like, I don't think of them as being terrifying.
Well, a lot of people don't.
I feel like they're helpful. They're like the good guys when they want to be.
A lot of times they are. They're like the Vulcans of the science world.
They've been considered in folk stories and folk tales. Things like the gnomes, the elves, the dwarves of legends and lore. And then somewhere along the lines, if that's true, then there must be other species that evoke, stories of like the Cyclopses and the Pegasuses and, a centaur. How do you get the idea of a centaur? How does a primitive guy come up with a science fiction idea of a half man, half
I don't know.
running around with a bow and arrow and helping
I'm telling you what, hanging out with some of these authors, I kind of understand how, but we're not going to go there. This is not the show for that. We'll bring that up on Friday.
Are they other types of aliens? Or if they're not aliens,
they could be. I mean, I don't realize anything visiting this planet because if I don't rule out anything visiting the planet. I mean, I think man's much older than we know we are. We're definitely at least 15,000 years. We're not. Civilization didn't start 6,000 years ago. Somebody effed that one up pretty good.
Would that mean that the Watchers and the fallen angels and the Nephilim and all them are derivatives of space beings as well?
Well, it's probably all the same space being. That's the problem. Sometimes you get 4 or 5 names for the same damn thing. That's why it gets confusing.
What about these other negative, like, demonic entities like Baphomet or Baal or whatever?
Also considered aliens.
Right. Would they be also like aliens?
They could be.
And whether it's good or bad is a matter of perspective as well.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because a lot of people are saying that like there's this ritualistic worship of the planet Saturn, and Saturn is actually the equivalent to Satan, and it has something to do with the storm on Saturn that's shaped like a hexagram. Because when you draw it out in a 3D form, it creates a cube, and that's why there's like dark, like black cube worshipping. I don't know. It's just some weird rabbit hole I've drifted into.
We're taking the internet away from I can see it now. We're taking the internet away from you. You're banned from the internet.
I banned myself. I've fallen down way too many deep rabbit holes.
Thank God you know us, man. Lord have mercy.
But I just wanted to know what you guys thought about this whole like Saturn worship and how it ties into these like alien satanic kind of theories.
Well, there's tons of like Christian and other religious art from way back, in the Renaissance and even before then, where they have like they picture demons in the artwork, in the Christian artwork. And sometimes the demon's like Bigfoot-like, and sometimes the demon is like a gray.
Are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, you like went silent for a second.
I'm sorry. But anyway, so some of these creatures are like you see in today's world. They just called them different things back then.
Right.
Elves, dwarves, demons, Baphomet, and good and evil is a matter of real actual perspective.
There you go, the cube religion, huh? And from
you were researching it. Yeah, look up the Saturn cube.
That's it right there on the screen.
Yeah. And it like there's a lot of modern day logos that tie into it as well. Like there was this chart that I saw where a lot of logos were designed to look like the planet Saturn,
the Hydra
with the rings.
Yeah, that's Saturn right there. He's got his Hydra pulling him.
And there's another
Lord of the
I don't know,
Rings.
there's a whole lot of logos. I think the Google Play logo, if you look up the esoteric meaning of the Google Play logo, it ties into another.
See, this one's saying
symbol.
Sabbath. This one's saying Sabbath is actually the worship of the planet Saturn.
Yes.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? These are some deep rabbit holes to go into. I'm surprised this is
Because
seemingly
people
new
are
to you.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you
because
have to have some listeners or viewers out there that are familiar with this topic.
I'm sure, and I'm sure they are. But see, for us, Saturn is what it is. Saturn is
it's just way too left field. It's too dark of a
no.
rabbit hole.
It's just Saturn. We don't worry about it. We know what it is. It's a planet. It's just what it is. It's nothing.
There were religions way back that used to have their.
We're more interested around Saturn's moons than we are about Saturn.
Yeah. In the Sabbath, that usually meant Saturday was when you worshipped.
Yeah, it actually said that in the article. So it's just all you want to believe. That's what it comes down to when there's so many things, like when you talk about Saturn or anything for that matter. Like
well, what
Mercury.
you believe is dependent on what you know, like what you're exposed to, what you expose yourself to, which I feel like is one of the reasons why a lot of knowledge has been suppressed from the population, because it's a means to control the population. The less they know, the more easy people are to control.
You mean like the planet's flat?
I mean, yeah, like throwing out psyops, things that will deter us from actually learning what everything truly really is. Making us believe ultra watered down, hyper translated versions of stories that have been passed.
I guess I'm lucky because I don't believe shit unless it's been proven to me. There's just not enough. There's just not enough basis in any theory these days to worry about. I guess that's what it really comes down to, or any religion for that matter. Even modern religion or ancient religion, there's not enough in them anymore to really warrant that push over the top to worship or to get involved in them, because there's no proof. No, screw the origin. Of course, if you go by the origin, if you go by the origin, they all came from Samaria.
Yeah.
That's what they say. All religion is Samaria. So
actually,
it's all the same thing.
Whatever landed in Samaria happened before the flood. The flood came, everyone forgot, and it started back up in Samaria.
It's so, I mean, that's what it, and whatever didn't come from there came from Mesopotamia. So it's kind of hard to worry about anything when you know they all got their basis in some whacked either some
Well,
whacked aliens
that's what
or some ancestors that didn't know what an ant was. Just saying.
that's what I'm saying. It just seems like a lot of things that we think we're worshiping are like a lot of
Why you worship anything? What are you, a doofus?
They're just all based
Doofus.
on.
I'm calling you doofus. If you're worshiping anything, you're a doofus.
Okay, so people, a large majority of people. I'm not saying everybody.
And the large majority of people are doofuses. So
yes,
go ahead.
I do not dispute that. However, our culture, especially here in the United States, is surrounded economically on these traditions. Christmas, Easter. It's a means to produce economic growth at certain times of the year.
But that's not what it's there for. It's there to cover up the pagan holidays. That's what it's there for.
Exactly. It all has an origin, and the reason that we have been taught to practice these things all comes from some,
But here's a question for you. But here, you're making yourself dizzy. Here's a question for you.
I know the stories we know of.
When did you learn? But when did you learn that the holidays were to cover up the pagan stories? How old were you? You too, Jay. How old were you?
Probably
I was an adult.
Probably
an
in my
adult,
20s,
but 19, 20, 50. I mean, how old?
20, 23, somewhere in there.
I'd say it was about 15 years ago is when I started learning about this stuff.
So in your 20s.
Yeah, for me,
early 30s. So anyway, the point being is any relatively sane person will realize fairly quickly what this is about. It doesn't take rocket science to work this out. Now I can understand that
I stopped believing in God when I was 6.
So I can understand the need to believe, because you need something to believe in. Most people need to have something to believe in. So I don't hate on people who believe in whatever they want to believe in. It's now I say this all the time. Whatever makes you feel as snug as a bug in the rug is what you should do. Because life is short and you need to be comfortable while you're here. As far as personally things like me, no, I'm somebody the other day asked me about going to church. I was like, wait, what? I said, I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. I never will be religious. I haven't been religious since I was 14, and I probably won't be.
Married, sure, I'll go to church.
Y'all if I went to church, that bitch would go.
Maybe I'm a latent hyper religious person. Maybe I don't go to church.
You are religious because you need. So what you should find. Oh no, I ain't telling you that. Never mind.
What? Tell me.
No, I ain't telling you. Never mind. No,
come on, break that seal.
No, we ain't going there. Ladies and gentlemen, how are y'all doing tonight? I was going to send the Milabs over to see Leah later, so there'll be a lot of screaming at her place.
Yeah, hey Joe, how are them Saints?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of screaming with them too, man. If we might send them over to get probed. It's I don't know what's going to change. I heard we're getting a new coach, a new quarterback, a new running back. I don't know what's going on.
Any coincidence that there's so many different cultures that believe in a
religion
source.
is for control.
Yes,
all religion is everything that's written when it comes to religion is for control. So somebody got mad at me the other day because they were telling me the Bible said. I said, fuck the Bible. God didn't write the Bible. Man wrote the Bible.
I agree.
So I'm not going to follow something that was written by man because I know how man thinks, and we're not going to go there.
Decades, God said, "Let's make man in our own image and whatnot." Well, the aliens gave us religion and government, two separate but almost equal ways of controlling people.
Yes,
and I mean, if you think about it,
a lot of cats too in the process.
Necessarily for a bad reason. It was because they wanted us to be healthy and preserve our lives.
No, that's not what they wanted. It's not what they wanted. They wanted to control you. However they wanted to. They wanted you to be slave. They wanted you to work for nothing. They wanted to control you. Yeah, that's why we had the Spanish Inquisition for a couple 100 years. It killed everybody. It's just aliens didn't give us that because aliens might have gave it to us, but we abused it. Why don't they send out some Milab people? Oh, they might. I never thought about that. Jeez. That could be interesting. What's that,
Well, of course,
Jimmy?
Bono was most of my labs.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking if Jimmy, if the MyLab showed at some of these churches, you might not have some of the incidents that you have go on in some of them. No, I'm not against God. No. What are you talking about? I do say that DOG is what is God spelled backwards? Dog. I always say if God's real, because if you've ever had a real dog, you know they love you unconditionally. There's probably a little piece of God in every dog. That's why they share the same name. It's just spelled backwards. God is God, and then you spell it backwards. It's dog. So he just breaks his little piece into you. That's why you can keep an eye on you sickos too. By the way, yes. I'm just. Oh, what's the matter? I just freaked you out. Oh man, it's true though. Think about your dog. Dogs love you unconditionally. It's like a baby almost. They just love you because you're their daddy or mama, whoever. Yes. Yes,
I've got
that's how it is.
a 200-pound example of one right there. You see him?
Yes. And my
There
two,
he
if I
is.
said anything, they would be in here loving me up right now. It's yeah. Well, it's a weird thing, but it is kind of strange because it is. You would never have thought about that when you look at God. You never think of the word dog, but as soon as you flip it over, you're like, wow. Well, that's just a little weird. So I'm telling y'all, that's what
It's like
God did that.
like
So
the
he
old
put a
joke,
little
you know?
piece of himself in every dog.
It's like the old joke, you know, what a dyslexic agnostic amnesiac does. You know, they stay up night and contemplate dog and then forget everything.
I love, but you know, mine is good. It's what's that, Christopher? It's well, no, we're not going to talk about that because that's not what the show is about. But it was just a little twister for you to think about. That's all. It's military abductions are going to go on as long as alien abductions are going on, and as long as the government doesn't know what the aliens know. So you got to remember, guys, most of military abductions are about learning what the extraterrestrials have been doing. They take a person. So first off, they have to establish that someone's a contactee. That's why I always tell someone who's been abducted, be sure you want to come out, because if you are a contactee and you have any information that is considered useful, you will get taken, and probably more than once. And if they
Like
will try to convert you, yeah,
organizations,
that's
neither
true.
one of which really necessarily might have your best interests at heart.
I have a question.
Yes, question.
Is it possible that there have been alien beings abducted as Milabs?
Well, it's possible that Men in Black got abducted. That's my lab.
I'm talking about like
there's some speculation that there's been sort of a visitor exchange program, if you will, kind of vis-a-vis Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the Steven Spielberg movie, where representatives of modern day America and modern day countries get on board with the aliens and leave for several years, including Richard Dreyfuss's character. Allegedly, that's kind of what happened, but they sent one or two like representatives of their culture. One was the first one was called EBE-1. When he died, they got EBE-2. When he died, they got a guy named Jar Jared, who stayed on Earth until the mid-70s when he actually left the planet. Without the other two actually died on the Earth from various Earth illnesses, if you will, flus and colds and what likes. Those are legends.
Man. Poor boys must not have been able to get none of the technology, or just wanted out of this place, since they can be uploaded to a new consciousness.
The reason I ask is because of that I just had a very, very vivid dream where it felt like I was a part of some kind of what you guys have described as a MyLab abduction or experiment. Because I saw humans. There were human beings, human people dressed in like military outfits and lab coats. And then there was an alien, large, tall, dark gray, huge head. And when I saw it, I was terrified. And I was like beyond terrified in my dream. I was like paralyzed, terrified.
Well, because sometimes, when you're taken like that by the military, your keeper may show up, or your keeper may be invited. Every abductee has a keeper. Contact
It's crazy. It went silent.
Doesn't matter what they are. It's all of them. All of them have a keeper though. It's just it's one of the ways how the Greys also track you. That keeper has your, I guess, frequency in its head, so it always knows where you are. It's amazing to me they can track so many.
It definitely had some kind of ability to connect with me somehow.
No, the Greys can connect with anybody. And Greys doesn't matter if you're sleeping, awake. None of that really matters. It's just retaining what they send you is the hardest part. Because to them, consciousness and sleep is pretty much the same thing. It's they're just like, even when they're sleeping, they're still working. It's a weird, because I wouldn't think of it as sleeping the way we think of it. So, if it's time for you to get an upload or a download and you happen to be asleep, it's not going to matter. You're going to get it that way. Your mind may transfer it into other, but sometimes it is an event that your mind is just recording. Something that went on somewhere, a military abduction that got taken, but you have to give them a reason though to be Milabs. You have to, something they know, some information you may have.
A bad dream.
It might have been just a bad dream,
but it was really real feeling, and it is everlasting. I'll never forget it.
You've got a munchkin now, so half the time you're going, he's coming with you, or you're going with him, I should say.
That's crazy. I think I had a dream recently. He was with me and we were flying around in space.
It's probably his dream too. That's the bad part. It's the funny part. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of because the age difference between y'all, you've been probed many times, so they're kind of like, okay, you're being used for different things. Well, no, it's a true statement. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. Pre-puberty, they're just kind of messing around with the kids, getting them relaxed, getting them where they can identify with whatever aliens are there, so it's not scaring them. And then the puberty stuff starts, and from there until probably 28, it's pretty harsh. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on.
I think it starts even earlier than that. I think because there are a lot of kids that actually they talk
they start getting abducted pre-birth. And they're abducted their whole entire life, and that's they don't need me.
I think some of the indoctrination begins even earlier than you may speculate. I think they're, especially we have those kids that talk about their imaginary friends, or like they're elf-like, or they look like this and that.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah, no,
big black eyes and gray skin.
Yeah, well, no, that's a given, but they don't do any harsh experiments until they start puberty. That's when they start. So before that, they're seen all the time. The Greys, that's what I was saying earlier. The Greys pick them up on a regular basis so those children get used to them seeing them. That's one of the reasons they have an invisible friend. It's to get used to them. They don't want the kids being scared of them. And if you ask a lot of kids who know they've been taken, if you ask them, you'll ask them specific question or bring them back to the event, they'll say, oh no, my bug-eyed friends and my little gray friends came and picked me up and we went and did this and we went and did that. There's no fear there. And most of the kids that's been interviewed, I don't interview kids. We got other people who do that, but it's in 90% of the cases there's no fear. But around whenever that child hits puberty, and it just, I guess it's a right to the aliens to say, okay, I guess before that you're still an adolescent child and they don't want to mess you up. But once you hit puberty, it's fair game till you're 28, and then they stop. And then after that, they see what your usefulness is and how, if you want to be involved in any way as a contactee or as a keeper. And that'll keep you in a program. If not, if you're not useful or you don't have a bunch of kids, they just drop you. It's over with. Now, if you have a kid, they'll come get your kid, but you're out. And there comes a point where some humans are just not useful to them. It took us a long time to understand that. That was kind of a harsh reality, to be honest with you. I guess in a way it was a good thing because a lot of people wanted to be dropped. They wanted out.
But at the same time, some of these exact same alien species we're talking about, they also predict for us a time upcoming of severe strife. It will not be pleasant, is the description of it. But after so many years of that, we're talking like Utopia, Star Trek era type of stuff.
Yeah, sort of.
That's it. I mean, you know.
But see, I don't know if that's necessarily here. So think of it this way. Let's talk about this for a second. Yeah, we got some time. So let's talk about this for a second. So we know that the aliens take people's consciousness. We know they take them at the moment of death or up till 3 days after death. They can remove the essence of who you are from your body. We know they're putting them in different bodies and bringing them to different worlds. Not here. And they're not coming back here. So for you, it's kind of like going to heaven. You woke up in this place where you can, everything you do is by thought. You're in this new body with no aches and pains. It's healthy. You're healthy. Your family around you, anybody who's in the group is also there and healthy, or anybody who's died, I should say. It's different because here on Earth, there's going to be pain on Earth for a long time to come.
So why do you tell me that I'm part of the group that has to stay here?
Okay, the cleanup crew is a whole different thing. So there's a cleanup crew that the Greys, Reptilians, and humans use to pick up things that are going wrong, whether it's here, because we're not the only worlds that have abductions going on. But the cleanup crew here is for whatever the Holocaust dream is. They're there to do a couple of things. One, they're there to ensure any abductees that get left behind are brought to wherever they need to be taken off. They're also there to have protection from government or other things or people that would try to harm them. So they enhance your abilities. It's like, I don't know. It's like the best way I could describe it is they just dropped you in a Marvel body or a Superman body. I mean, your abilities are far beyond anything you can comprehend. So they do that to make sure that anybody who's here that needs to be taken off will get taken off. Because once the shit hits the fan, to say the place, the Greys, Reptilian, humans remove themselves from our planet, except for the ones that are going to stay behind. They remove themselves.
And it will hit the fan, right? Like you're saying, there's a certainty.
Well, yeah. Well, so we know. Well, we know about the Holocaust dreams from 1/3 or more of the contactees, but that's different. That's just like a cleaning of the planet, and then a bunch of contactees and abductees are going to be taken off world for. If it's forever, I don't know. If it's just for a while, I don't know. But there will be places they talked about. I think it was Sydney, Seattle, and some European city would be left behind, and there would be colonies there, mixed colonies, mind you. They would be colonies of the humans that were left behind with their abilities, the Greys, Reptilians, and even other aliens that were now allowed to come on the planet. So
this mass exodus of people leaving this planet.
That'd be a good sci-fi novel, Jay. We need to write this shit down.
Yeah, we do.
Could that be associated with what people know of as the rapture?
Well, it could be. So a lot of this stuff, when you talked about it, it sounds like a lot of what's in the Bible. I mean, it sounds a lot. Well, what's in I shouldn't say in the Bible, but what's in in Revelations. Yeah. So it does sound like a lot of that, and maybe something's going to happen. Maybe a war, maybe a nuclear war, maybe an asteroid, maybe something else. We do know that there is going to be, because of the contactees with the Holocaust dream, we do know there's going to be some kind of mass cleansing, killing 80, maybe 90% of the population that are not contactees.
Well,
it doesn't affect the contactees at all, by the way. Whatever the number of the contactees, whether it's 100 million, a billion, 2 billion, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect them.
A lot of scholars are also convinced that whatever is going to happen as far as the revelations go, it's going to begin at a place called Har Megiddo, which is the hill of Megiddo, or Armageddon. Har Megiddo.
So anyway, guys, it does look like those things are going to happen. Will we be alive for it, or will we be here for it? I don't know. But I will tell you this, judging from some of the descriptions in the Holocaust dreams of the technology that they saw, I would have to say it's in the near now future. meaning anywhere from now to about 100 years, because the technology seemed to fit in that range. I couldn't put a pinpoint on it because they were cars with fold-in things on the side that lifted up, which sounded like some type of hover car or something along those lines. Something that we're working on now, things that we already have flying now, but they're just not, they're just not state of the art yet. They're not really where they need to be. Like that helicopter we seen the other day that turns into a car. I mean, that's cool, but you got to do some work to do it. It's not like it's automated or anything. So all the stuff they were talking about, like when they walked up, things met you at the door. There was
type stuff. Really?
yeah. There were like holograms that met you at the door and talked to you and knew what your last purchases were and stuff like that. It was kind of weird. And other types of things. When they were describing the vehicles, they did describe them differently than what we see ours as. But the technology was sounding more within that 100-year range. Not like they were George Jetson
Imagine
cars.
if your butler at your house, at your advanced super smart house, imagine your robotic butler also transformed into a car and took you places.
And see, these people were actually, and these people we're talking about were actually awoken and brought back here for this. So they didn't even so the technology was even kind of new to them, because it wasn't like that they had, grew along with it. They had actually been taken off the world when they died. Now they had been brought back for these particular events. So, and the reason they say they have to stay is, though, and maybe not all of them will have to, but the reason they say they have to stay is because of the things they're forced to do to save particular groups of contactees. They do talk about there's definitely ones that were taken by different agencies and different governments and different militaries to try to get the vaccine, to try to save their happy asses. Some of them had already figured out a vaccine, but had taken some anyway. So they expect all of them to be returned to the ships, but they don't want to go get them for some reason. So they're going to send them. I guess it's risky. Somebody might get killed, and they're going to send them. It don't even make any sense. They just don't want to do it. I guess in one way, it's not their job to do it. It's ours.
So basically, how do you know if you're staying? I mean, I went all the way through the whole COVID.
Okay, so the way you know you're staying is because you will either, if you're still alive, you'll wake up one morning with, like, you'll probably be hovering over your bed. You'll look out your window and say, "Oh, I'd like to have the damn thing come float into your hand." You'll trust me. There's no way you won't know, because you'll have abilities that you've just never had before. Abilities, by the way, that will be pretty standard for people who live off world, but for people here, it'll be unheard of. Fly, don't. Matter of fact, if I remember right, they talked about you didn't have to eat unless you wanted to. You could fly pretty much anywhere you wanted to. You just hop up in the air and go. It was very strange when they talked about it. And they talked about a lot of other abilities, especially mental facility abilities, but they were talking about. So one of our district supervisors calls me one day, just frantic. She's crying. I'm like, what's the matter? She said, I melted people. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You melted people? And so she starts telling me the dream, and it was a Holocaust dream. And she literally melted all the people, all the military people that were standing in front of her to get to the contactee. She melted them by thought. Oh, wow. I was like, what a dream was that?
X-Men level.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, this isn't playtime stuff. And from what I understand, they're going to need it because of the level of what you're going up against. And it's not that some of them won't get killed and won't get returned. So it's kind of, but basically that's why they're saying they have to stay here, because of the things they've done. They don't want them bringing that and contaminating wherever they bring these other people. Don't ask me. And from what I understand, it's not just one world. What's up, sweetie?
Are the events or tasks that these people, the cleanup crew or whatever, would have to follow through with in order to complete their mission or their task, is it all happening in a specific event, or could it possibly be a lifetime of choices that they made
So,
that led them to a specific
oh
path
no, so
in life?
this is different. So if you've ever, this is something we don't talk about a lot, but we got hardly no time. So a lot of people talk about seeing these big tubes on spaceships, rows and rows and rows, thousands and thousands of these glass looking tubes. And sometimes there'll be a little kid in there. Sometimes there'll be an adult. You'll look at, sometimes it's you. It's a different, but the body may be a little different, maybe stockier, thinner, taller, but it's you and it's your kids. So somewhere along the line, somebody offered you a deal, or you found out about it and asked for a deal and said, look, I'll stay. You take my family off where I'll stay. And they talk about that a lot. And there's also other ones that were chosen because of things that they've done. But you can't be evil. They don't want you to be somebody who's evil, but they need you to be the kind of person that can do what needs to be done.
Well,
That makes any sense.
There's recurring themes of that. If you
Jail gets stuck.
Yeah, but if you look back and
Michael probably gets
the
stuck.
Greek myths and the Roman myths, there are creatures and beings that have enormous power and tremendous abilities, and not unlike the Hulk and comic
Michelle
book heroes
gets stuck.
of the modern day. I mean, it's really not unlike that at all. I mean, Hercules.
No, it's when you listen to what the Greys are telling you, and it's not just the Greys offering this, by the way. All three races are involved in this. When you listen to what they're telling you, it's an offer, and they're hoping, and I could be wrong about this, but I think they're hoping the people left behind with some of the other aliens that are going to stay behind, which I hear some of them are pretty ruffians too, will actually eventually convert and start to bring this world back to a peaceful, happy world again. And I imagine somewhere along the line that the Greys and them will get back involved. But there's a reason why they're leaving. There's something about the world that after the contamination and something else goes on, it's just for the people who have been modified like this, it doesn't really affect them. But for the non-modified people or the non-modified aliens, for that matter, it'll probably kill them. Even though the Greys can regenerate, it doesn't matter. They don't have to go through it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a limit on regeneration. Maybe it's like the Highlander, or maybe it's like the Doctor Who and only get 12. I don't know. Or there's no limit.
I mean, the Highlander, he actually I think he died in front of his relatives, which is what freaked him out until he regenerated.
Yeah. So I mean,
and he came back to life. It's scary. I mean, it's like that's demon-like. That would for 100%. That would be.
Oh yeah, that's Duncan MacLeod. Yeah. Or was that Connor MacLeod? That might have been Connor MacLeod. I don't know. I get him confused.
No, Connor MacLeod is the first one. Duncan MacLeod is the TV.
So yeah. Connor MacLeod is the movies, except for the last one, which I don't know, kind of was weird and sucky. I mean, anyway, we're not going to get into that time. We ain't got enough time. But anyway, they talk about these beings being left behind, and from what I understand, they do leave space travel, limited, mind you, but space travel. You can travel to nearby solar systems and stuff like that. So I guess some places where if you got relatives or things like that, it'll be off limits, but other places maybe not. So that could be interesting. Or they might just let you go to places where you can get food and that's it. So,
yeah.
Which makes more sense to me. But we got to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We were just getting into the good part of the conversation, but isn't that how it always is? Look at Lee. It's like, yeah. What the hell, Joe? Don't stop now, man.
No, it was fun. I think it was a good sesh.
So anyway, ladies and gents, we got to get out of here. Michelle DeRoche will be coming up. I don't know who she got. I didn't look. Shame on Joe. Joe, you're just bad.
Yeah, I didn't look either.
Bad, Joe. Bad. You know I can find that. Hold on. Give me a second. Kermit the Frog. Okay. I should ban you for just even using that name.
I hope Kermit the Frog here.
It's no, really. I should just ban you for even using that name.
Yeah.
It's let's see. I don't see. Oh wait, I'm still on. I'm in the wrong. No, it's on upcoming. So that's us. There's Ethereal. Oh, I don't see her nowhere. Oh, there she is. Nope, that's today's what? The 12th?
UFO, Ethereal, Spirit Switchboard, Church, maybe.
What's all this March?
Outer Realm. Right there. It's that's March 13th.
Actually, there it is. That's the one's coming on right now. Forbidden Knowledge. So anyway, the
Thanks
Outer
for
Realm,
having me
Forbidden
on, you
Knowledge
guys.
is. Oh, Leah, we always love when you stop by. It's But anyway, we really do have to get out of here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Republic Radio and UFO Undercover. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Puppy. All three pups that managed to get on air with us tonight. What's that, Stephanie?
I can't believe
you can always submit a topic. Yeah, you can always submit a topic. We still got a little bit more to touch on the Milabs stuff, and then we got some stuff about. So we got to catch up.
She was
on
here
Mars,
the whole time too.
Other than that, we're good, and we got some guests coming. If I get my lazy butt up and go finish booking them. Anyway, on that note, again, thank you for listening to United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. And I and Jay will see you, and hopefully Leah will see you Friday night. Yes, Friday.
What
so
time?
The show you're missing out on is the Saturday show. Oh my
Saturday
god!
Show.
Oh my god, we're gonna get banned.
You
We're
know,
gonna get
I
banned
am
from
so
everywhere.
tired by the time that show starts.
How old are you?
I am old.
You're not as old as I am, young lady.
No, you still have color in your hair.
Leah,
Look.
Yeah, on Fridays, listen, Leah, I'm 58. On Fridays, I get up at 5:30.
That was good.
I go to work at 8. I start at 8. I get home at 6:30. I work 10 hours. And then if I do the Church of Mavis, then I do this. That's 5 hours extra. So I'm up 20 some hours in a day on Friday. And then Saturday, if I have painting, I have to be up and out of the house by 9:30 to be at painting class.
Do you drink coffee?
What the hell is that?
No, I can't. It gives me that's one of my buddies from work, Eric.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to be Michelle's guy.
No.
Accident. Anyway, we got to really get out of here. No, so yeah, Forbidden Knowledge next show up. The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Passano. Check them out. They're always a lot of fun to listen to.
That should be worth looking at, definitely.
Friday night will be, of course, its usual political start with God knows what else after that. Saturday always starts out with whatever we forgot to talk about on Friday night, and then God only knows where it's going after that. Who knows for sure?
What times on Friday and Saturday?
Friday's 9 to 11. Oh, I'm sorry, 9 to 1 for them, 9 to 12. 9 to 12 for us, 9 to 1 for them. And Saturday starts at 6:30 till 9? I think it ends at 9. It's 6:30. Jay, isn't it 6:30 to 9? Yeah, because it's 10 for
6:39 my time. 7:30 my time.
Yeah. So it ends for 10 then. That's right. It's 9 for us. But anyway, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that I'll be. I got a busy week, so I'll be on News on the Flip Side Friday night, wreaking havoc, causing all kind of disaster. Saturday, I will be on the Author's Quill, wrapping up the winners of this. Oh, let me show that.
41.
It's book 41. I'll be wrapping up the winners of this.
WTOF
And then we will be doing a special on with the illustrators the week after that. And then 2 weeks after that, I will be in LA causing general trouble. I'll get you a copy when I'm down there. I'll get you. I usually get 3 autographed copies when I'm coming back. I bring more, but the airplanes have a little. Oh my God! Don't put so many books in your thing.
You're a distributor. Wait.
I want to go to LA with you.
Well, you know where I'm at.
I'll be your personal assistant / chauffeur.
Good, I need one.
I'll be your security guard.
I need one of them too, especially if Chris is around. Man, Lord have mercy, he is evil. That boy is just evil. But we'll talk about that, ladies and guys. We got to get out of here because Michelle's got 2 minutes before she calls me on the phone and goes, "Joe, it's my time now, isn't it? It's my time now." Anyway, my final saying. Any moans, groans, bitches, or complaints, please address them to Michelle DeRoche, courtesy of Michelle DeRoche. And on that note, be sure yeah, that's right. Tell me Leah sent you. And on that note, be sure to. Anyway, we're out of here. Good night, everybody. I'm going to get us in trouble.